Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from RealityArtPod, here with my Week 11 player rankings for Big Brother 26. We're almost at the end. I'm going to rank the players based on how well I think they're doing in the game, as of the end of the Thursday night episode. With a spoiler warning, I will be talking about the evicted houseguest. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist where you can catch up on my previous recaps and rankings. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. So we have to say goodbye to Chemo here, who last week was 6th. He comes into this week after going on the block twice in 1 week last week, becoming the assumed Pawn Star. It's too late to change this now, but he's had a habit of not winning HOH and then not presenting the HOH with any reason to not go on the block, and then be really upset and offended in diary about being nominated, whining like a baby. And that's what he does this week after Mackenzie wins HOH. He's nominated against Rubina. Like I said, I don't think there was anything he could have done about that nomination, but you've got to at least act understanding. I found his gameplay to be pretty poor. However, he did actually try to talk to Cam, someone who he hasn't really had a great game relationship with in the past. He totally dogged Cam and Chelsea during the Cedric vote, and then he never really had a working relationship with them that wasn't facilitated by T-Core. But after a few conversations, he does seem to win Cam over into wanting to keep him and getting Cam to fight for him, which is really saying something, I guess. They really considered it until the last minute, but ultimately didn't decide to keep Chemo. Had he stayed, I would have actually ranked him higher than last because I do think he was one of the more likely people to consider cutting Chelsea. With that, we're down to the top 4, and in 4th, I have Mackenzie with straight hair, who last week was 3rd. Fortunately, we didn't see the resurgence of curly-haired evil twin MJ, who last week was 5th. Mackenzie came into this week after just having a pretty lackluster HOH week, where she took out her own friends and came into the week in a place where if she didn't win safety, she could have easily been evicted by multiple players, but she wins HOH and makes safe initial nominations of Chemo and Rubina, which was practical and fair. Where she loses me is she's in the position where Cam and Chelsea are her real competitors. When she won her veto, she should have executed on the plan to get Cam out. I'd say she should target Chelsea, but I really question if Mackenzie has the guts to ever do that, and Chelsea has really backed Mackenzie into a corner, with their relationship being based on religion, based on her morals dictating a lot of her game. At this point, she should just double down on winning out and having her story be, I was on the outs, but I leveraged challenge wins when I needed to. She won the power up week 1 and used it to secure her safety for the first few weeks, which also helped her to get an in with Chelsea. She could even say that she used her wins to save other people, like using vetoes on Angela and Chemo, and she could even argue that she dragged her alliance to the end because she was winning more than Chelsea and Cam, and convinced Leah not to nominate Cam and Chelsea. So I think if she articulated it in that way, she probably could beat anyone but Chelsea in the final 2, and maybe doesn't embarrass herself in the final 2 against Chelsea, but she doesn't see any of that. If she gets to the final 2, her argument is probably, I won a ton of competitions and didn't have to compromise my beliefs, which is such a weak argument based on the fact that she could see herself evicted by her own allies this coming week, and I think she's least likely to have a good jury performance. I have her ranked last. In 3rd, I have Cam, who last week was 4th. Last week, Cam was pretty safe through Mackenzie and Chelsea's HOHs. Coming to this week, he really should have cruised through the week, given that Mackenzie won the HOH and the veto, but it's really not good for him that Mackenzie and Chelsea accused him of throwing competitions, and were even thinking of evicting him. He successfully convinces them that he's not throwing competitions and that he genuinely just sucks at them, which I guess saved him, but I still don't really think he has a winning story. What with him having multiple rocky points in his game, like his weird flirting with Leah, and the drama with Chelsea. While he has a lot of friends in the jury, I just struggle to put myself in the shoes of a juror that would say Cam deserves to win if he doesn't make the move to cut Chelsea. Later in the week, he decides he wants to keep Chemo and does kind of push Chelsea around a bit strategically, but ultimately he doesn't get his way, which isn't a good look. In 2nd, I have Rubina, who came into this week after kind of cruising through the double eviction. She didn't do a lot to get through that last week, but she sailed on by. This week was a bit more tricky. Mackenzie wins the HOH, and Rubina does make a valiant effort to avoid being nominated, even going as far as throwing Chelsea under the bus to Mackenzie for true things that Chelsea said in the double eviction. I'm proud of Rubina for attempting the optimal play, especially when she could have just sailed on by again and let the house evict Chemo, as they were telling her they were going to do at that point. Obviously, it's not good that Mackenzie ran this right back to Chelsea, but at this point, Rubina does need to start making moves if she wants to win. Through this though, she falls into the trope of the non-player or floater who randomly wakes up and decides to start playing the game, and instantly the other players are like, okay, now they've got to go. After the veto is won and not used, Cam really warms up to the idea of evicting Rubina over Chemo. Given that she ended up staying and making it to the final 4, there's some upside to this for her. There's going to be one voter this week, and I think she's in the biggest danger if Cam wins HOH and Mackenzie wins veto. In every other situation, either Rubina wins something and is safe, or I think there's a strong chance that Chelsea or Cam would evict Mackenzie, and I think Mackenzie would evict Cam over Rubina. I have her ranked number 2 because based on the fact that there are so many opportunities for her to glide to the final 3, and I feel like the game is pretty much Chelsea's to lose, Rubina is probably the most likely person to cut Chelsea, and if she did, I think she could really get the jury votes to win the game. In first, I have Chelsea, who really had 2 HOHs last week after controlling Mackenzie's, and this week, after Mackenzie wins again, she pretty much gets another HOH with Mackenzie keeping she and Cam safe. She talked Mackenzie out of it, and then there was Cam trying to target Rubina, which she seemed down for, but I think if anything, Chemo has won more than Rubina, so it's smarter for Chelsea to keep Rubina. Her big weakness, even heading into this final stretch, is Cam. She's way too emotionally invested with him and has consistently let her crush on him get the best of her. She really needs to keep her eyes on the prize because she's 2 competition wins away from winning this game. Right now, she's in the BB17 Vanessa role where she's the clear frontrunner. Either she's winning or whoever takes her out will win. I guess we'll have to see. So those are my rankings. There are only a few players left, but let me know in the comments, how would you rank them? I'm in California for an event right now, so expect a slight delay in the weekly recap, but I had time to whip this together, so I hope you enjoy. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, have a nice weekend. Bye!